just before the video starts, make sure you go and check out my website, ystech.org. This is the place where you're going to be finding the latest news and everything great in technology, from reviews to tutorials and much more. So make sure you go check it out in the description, ystech.org. I'll see you there. Hey guys, it is Wise from Wise Tech here, and today we're going to be doing a September gaming PC build for New Zealand. So let's get straight into the build. So first off, we're kicking off the build with the CPU. We've got the AMD Ryzen 5 3600, clocked at 3.6 GHz with a 6-core processor, and I'd highly recommend getting one right now. They are very cheap, and they have amazing performance. They're going to do pretty well, not only in gaming, but also in multi-threaded tasks and things that require more cores and a higher thread count as well, so more of the multimedia stuff and things like that. So if you're into that sort of stuff, I'd highly recommend going with Ryzen, especially because in the future you're going to be more future-proof in terms of your upgradability options because of the motherboard you choose. So we've gone on for the motherboard for the AMD side, and we've got the Asus TUF B450M Plus Gaming MicroATX motherboard. It comes in at about $167 from First Wave, and looks like a pretty good motherboard. It's got 4 RAM slots here, got the AIM4 platform here, so you're going to be able to plug in your 3600. It's got like this cool IO Shield backplate thing here, and it's got 2 PCIe 16x slots, but I don't think they're both rated at 16x. This one's probably 16x, and this one's probably like 4 or 8x. So yeah, I mean, there's the option there as well. I think it's a pretty good motherboard for what it is. And yeah, 167, that isn't too bad from First Wave at all. So here's the alternative to the AMD side. So if you're a little bit stretched for budget and you don't really care about like the multi-threaded tasks like that, like rendering and more like performance-based tasks instead of gaming, and you want to just go for pure gaming, go for the Intel Core i5-9400F. It is a pretty good processor at the moment. It's $228 from First Wave or $229 from Computer Lounge, and yeah, it's a pretty good CPU. My friend actually has an i5-9400F, and he is doing pretty well on it, to be perfectly honest. And one of my other friends actually has a similar build to his, and he has the 3600, and they're very comparable to each other in terms of gaming. Obviously, in terms of future upgradability, you could go with something like a 3300X from AMD that just came out as well, because you're going to be able to upgrade in the future just because of the type of motherboard you've purchased. But if you're into Intel and you want to do pure gaming and you're a little bit stretched for budget right now, then I'd highly recommend going for the Intel. And this is like considering if you want to build your computer like right now. If you can wait a little bit longer, I am sure the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 is going to drop in price in November. I can see it going to at least $280 or $260, and that's going to be an absolute steal when it goes to that. In November. Well, hopefully my predictions are right, but we'll see. So we're going to head over to the Intel motherboard. So I've gone with the Asus Prime B365M-A MicroATX board, and basically it's not the alternative to this one. It is pretty similar to my AMD board, and it's got 4 RAM slots, so you'll be able to upgrade in future. It's just got this normal slot for your Intel CPU, and yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good board. It's a good board at all. In the major differences between this one and the AMD one would be the 16x slot, and it's got 2 4 times 4 slots here, or times 1 slot. I can't remember. And I can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 SATA slots, and this one over here only has 4. Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's just you shouldn't be picking your builds on deciding on motherboards. Like, that's a bit silly. Especially if you're comparing platforms. The best thing to compare would be comparing the CPU performance. And if you'd like to see the difference in CPU performance, I'd highly recommend one of my videos called How to Determine Your FPS. from these builds, and I take you through step by step in that video on how to do that. And I'll link it in the description as well if you guys want to see that. It's a really good video, to be honest. I put a lot of time and effort into it to make you guys understand the perspective I'm coming from. So we've got the RAM here, and to be honest, I've been doing these PC builds for a little while, and I've been choosing cheap RAM, and you can do that. I personally only have 2400 megahertz RAM, and apparently I personally haven't seen this, but I've seen from benchmarks and from friends' builds that when you go on the higher speeds of RAM, your computer does pick up on a bit of performance, just because the RAM's a bit faster. So this time I've decided to go with G.Skill Ripjaw's 5 series 16 gigabytes to 8 GB sticks of DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM. Now this is actually quite reasonable. It's $122 from Playtech or $129 from PBTech. And especially if you're going to go with the AMD boards, I'd highly recommend going with higher speeds such as 3200 megahertz RAM or 3600 megahertz RAM. You will feel a bit of a performance boost when you do get the highest speeds, and especially because it's pretty reasonable. It's like $20 extra compared to what you're paying for the 2400 megahertz. So I think the $20 difference is definitely worth it to get the upgrade, to be honest. And you guys should save a little bit more, and you'll be able to be a bit more future proof into the future. So we've got SSD. I've actually had a problem with my Kingston A400. I have put it in previous builds, but I do not recommend it at all. Mine only lasted 3 years, and it deleted all the data off the SSD when it got corrupt, and it couldn't be recovered at all. So all of that data is gone. Obviously, you practice safe backup practices, but I only partially did that, so I have some of the data, but a lot of it, I lost it. So I have to rebuild stuff by myself, and it's a bit of a pain. So I've had Samsung drives in the past. I still have them, and I have had one since 2011, and it's still working. I have had one from 2013, and it's still working. So in my personal experience, Samsung's SSDs are a little bit more reliable. I can't say that for sure in terms of benchmarks or any performance or any statistic. I can't give any metric to that reliability, but due off my own intuition and based off my own experience, I have definitely seen my own Samsung SSDs do a lot better than the other ones I've owned. So yeah, I'm not going to skimp on this one. It's only $109 from PBTech, and it was $104 from Computer Lounge. I actually purchased one of these just last week to get it back in my build because I had to replace that drive, and it is a really fast SSD, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm using it right now. It is very, very quick. It is a good Samsung drive, and you do pay the premium for it. But to be honest, guys, I think it's better to pay that premium and get something a little bit higher quality than what you otherwise would at the lower end side of SSDs. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to sacrifice your data when you're putting stuff like that on the line, especially for the price. It's only like $40 more. I know it is a little bit more, but seriously, take your data seriously. And I'd personally get the Samsung A60 Evo. I personally got it just because it's a 500 gig drive. It was only $104, and it's SATA, so it's not M.2 or NVMe. But on my motherboard specifically, if I put an M.2 drive, it disables 2 SATA ports, so I need those 2 SATA ports. So I decided to get this instead. But I would highly recommend going with the Samsung A60 Evo. And next, we've got the graphics card. So we've gone with the good old Sapphire Radeon RX 5600 XT 6GB Pulse Edition. Now, things are set to change based on what NVIDIA has given us in terms of future graphics cards coming up. So these AMD cards, the Sapphire RX 5600 XT, could be in the line of fire, so it could not be good in a few months. However, at the moment, yeah, it's one hell of a good card. 2 of my friends actually sport these cards, and they go amazing on their machines. They run 1080p games easily. One of my friends has a 144 hertz monitor. Whew, that he runs games like no problem. Mind you, he's not playing like the highest like AAA titles. He's playing like more esportsy titles, but damn, this card does well in those esports titles. And not only that, I've seen him play GTA 5 and on the other computer with the 60 hertz one, my other friend, and they do very well on this card. It's just such an amazing card for its price. It is a wee bit pricey in New Zealand, so $538 from PB Tech. But personally, if I were to upgrade, I would upgrade to this right now. It is a very, very good card. And unfortunately, the ones from NVIDIA, they at the higher end, like the 2070 and the 2080, yeah, they are amazing cards in terms of performance, but their prices are ridiculous. This RX 5600 XT is something more comparable to, I believe, a 2060 Super or a 2060. So, and the 2060 and the 2060 Super are a little bit more than this card. So, I think it's definitely worth it at this price range. Hopefully, it comes down. I'm pretty sure it will, but I would highly recommend this card right now. So we're gonna go over to the case, and I've gone with the Silverstone Precision. I know I've never done this before. Comes in at $91 from Radeon PC. Sorry, I'm not gonna edit that out, but I've never been able to pronounce that name properly. So what does this case have? So it looks like it has two front RGB fans. I'm not sure if they're RGB or just red. It has like a mesh over it, so to not let dust in, a dust filter, and it has one back case fan. Now, I'm not sure exact specs, but it looked pretty good, and I had quite a bit of room. So, and it also had this glass case, glass side panel, which actually looks quite nice. So, I've never seen it in real life, but from photos, I think it looks pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go for that, go for whatever case you want. It's just personal preference, and I think that is a pretty good case for this type of build. So let's go over to the power supply. So what have we got here? We've got the Silverstone 500 watt 80 plus gold certified. It's a fully modular power supply. So my friend actually owns this one, and it's $149 from Computer Lounge. I helped him assemble it, and it is a good power supply, and it was pretty easy to cable manage. I cannot personally vouch for it, but from what I've seen in his build, it is going pretty well. No explosions yet. I didn't mean it like that if you're actually watching, but it is a good power supply from what I've seen and reviews I've seen as well. And yeah, I mean, hey, it's a good power supply for the price. Power supplies are a little bit expensive in New Zealand, to be honest. So let's go over to the total. So what have we got here? So for the AMD build, we've got $1,486. So that's very expensive, but hey, I mean, it's a solid build. I tried not to skimp on parts for this one, and I personally think the CPU, the motherboard, the RAM, and the SSD, and the graphics card are all solid parts, even the power supply. So the only thing I'm not sure, like exactly sure on, would be the case. But the other parts, yeah, they give you a very, very good time, to be honest. And we've got the Intel build, and that totals up to $1,407. So a pretty good build as well. The only things is that the CPU performance would be a bit less, but if you're doing pure gaming, it would be pretty good. Like, you probably wouldn't notice a difference. But if you're doing like more performance-based stuff like rendering or anything like that, then I'd probably go with the AMD build. But yeah, they both good builds to think about, and if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. I am on holidays for the next 2 weeks, which is quite nice. And yeah, I mean, I hope I can get some more builds out. I'm sorry, I've been quite busy. I haven't been able to get builds out. I've been doing tests and all of that stuff online. Yeah, but we're back in the house, and things are getting back to normal, and we're going off lockdown after the holidays for uni, so that's pretty good. And yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you go and check out ystech.org for the latest posts, reviews, and much more. I'll see you guys there at ystech.org. But other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.